Hello and welcome to the Cuppa Cupboard Live. My name is Matt Gonzalez and thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've got an action-packed show lined up for you as always, but if I could just give you some housekeeping. Some of you have already found the live chat box there. Please do put your comments and your questions in there. I'm determined to stick to a 45-minute runtime today. I know we've overrun the last 2 times. And I would really like to do more of your questions. So I've written less questions. So it's definitely worth getting those questions into that live chat because we're going to try and get to as many of them as possible today. Now, just before we start, I want to introduce you guys just to this little guy, which is our donate QR code. This takes you to our GoFundMe, which basically just allows you, if you feel so inclined, to donate a little something which will be spread evenly between everybody who contributes towards this live stream, which isn't just the performers who you will meet on screen, but also our musicians who create our backing tracks and other things for us in between live streams as well. So a lot of work goes into these. So if you do feel so inclined, please do feel free to give. Don't worry if you see people giving big amounts, £1, £2. Don't think that you can outspend my mum. It's fine. Like, whatever you guys can give is absolutely fine. I think she keeps setting the bar too high each week and puts people off from giving. But yeah, any little you can give would be very, very much appreciated during this pandemic when all the theatres are closed. So without further ado, let's get on to our guest, because that's the reason why you are all here. So I'd like to introduce you to my very good friend, Mr. Luke Street. There he is. This is a new camera angle for this week as well. Hope you guys like it. It's called an establishing shot. Or so I've been told, yes.
Got our distance.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. How have you been, Luke? How's your lockdown been so far? What have you been keeping yourself up to?
Well, played way too much PlayStation. Too much Call of Duty.
Professional gamer.
Yeah, well, something like that.
I heard the kids are making millions from it. Fortnite, isn't that? There's money in Fortnite.
There's money in all
Show
sorts
my
of
age
gaming.
now.
Twitch, you can make I got a mate who's now trying to do it as a full-time profession. He's doing really well with it.
Wow.
Just put your hours in, and you got to be funny and likable. Yeah. But he sings on it as well.
That's where I'm going wrong for this thing.
I could plug him actually, can't I? Yeah.
But you've been keeping yourself busy in other ways, haven't you?
Yeah, well, yeah.
In terms of like training and you've actually been productive during this time.
I'm a bit of a Fatima, ain't I?
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a Fatima.
You took Rishi's advice to heart and actually decided to retrain in something, not like the rest of us lazy bums.
Yeah. Well, I actually started before the lockdown because I've always liked doing my own books and tax returns. So I thought, why not? Let's have another string to the bow. So try and get some.
So you've been doing an accounting.
So I've been doing an accountancy course, yeah. So the idea, I'm doing accountancy, but the idea is become a bookkeeper that can process the self-assessments for performers and other people and little companies and stuff. So,
but you've not just been doing, obviously, like qualifications. You've actually one of the few people I know who's been able to get some theatre work during this time as well.
Very lucky.
So you did that last week. You were filming for that, wasn't it? Monday to Wednesday.
Yeah.
Do you want to just tell us what it's In Pieces, the musical?
In Pieces.
So it's a new piece that's just come out of America. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a writer called Joey Contreras, and he's a fantastic songwriter. Writes some of the music in it, so the music's phenomenal. But yeah, he's a Broadway writer, and he's writes all these songs, but he's got this song cycle. So if anyone doesn't know what a song cycle is, it's basically a musical that's sung through with standalone songs. But what we've done here with what Louis and Steph and the team have done is kind of made a storyline to it. So everyone links. We're in this city. We're in New York. We all link in some way. We've all got our piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be.
Well, I mean, I've got some photos here of the cast and also the artwork as well. So it's some very, very familiar faces there from the West End here. You've got Danielle Steers up here and Jordan as well. I don't know who that guy on the second row at the end of the left is, but he's
Kyle.
there as well. No, I was talking about you, but never mind.
The cast are phenomenal. You're going to hear some unbelievable vocal techers from some. We did a little run through because it was hard because we got sent all our stuff because it was all COVID safe. So we got sent all of the stuff to learn at home. So Ed Court, our MD, a good friend of mine, love you. He sent us all the tracks, all our note bashes. We could sit at home, learn it all, come into rehearsal because we only had 2 days rehearsal, 3 days filming. So short space of time to put on a musical. Rehearsed it, sang it with the people. We sang through the piece, and it was probably one of the most surreal moments of my life. Actually, just hearing people that you've not heard these songs before just stand up, give it all in this. I had goosebumps. All of us had goosebumps.
I mean, you've got some fantastic voices on that bill.
Every single song is a banger. You've got bangers. You're gonna get up and dance. You're gonna cry. It's got everything.
Yeah,
it's got everything.
So how weird was it though before? Because obviously normally when you do shows, you're in a live theatre, you've got the audience there, you get that reaction straight away, you get that kind of feedback. If you've sung something that's funny or if you've sung something that's sad, you see it in the faces of the people. But doing that all to a camera, was that really surreal, or did you really feel like I need to retrain for this because it's not what I trained for, it's a different medium?
Definitely. Especially also being out of practice, so to speak. Like, we haven't done acting for a while.
Like a year,
I've sang gigs and online and through videos, but you sing behind a mic or everything. So this was going back to dissecting a song and looking at the lyrics and finding the storyline and putting that on the camera. I'm not used to working on camera, as you can probably tell from this.
From your eyeline
from
being
my
all
eyeline
over.
going,
Give us your best. Nailed it.
So, yeah, it's weird. And also breaking up the song. So you couldn't just do one take of one song, really. And you would think, oh, that take was good. But they wouldn't use it because you need to finish in a different position or get in different angles. So you're breaking up songs. So finding emotions in skipping bits. You have to be there.
So it's almost like having to sing through song, but as a TV actor.
Yeah.
Where you're at the drop of a hat, as soon as that director says action, you've just got to be in it and
we don't know what we've done. Like, did I overact? Oh, did I?
Well, yeah, because you can't see it.
I can't see it. I don't know.
And you don't get. That's where the reaction guides you normally, isn't it? The audience reaction guides you as to how big you need to go or how small you need to go.
Exactly. So for me, it was definitely a huge learning experience. But I'm really excited to see what they've done. I saw some of the shots, and what Fabio Santos has done I think is going to be quite special.
Yeah. Well, we're still waiting to actually hear where this is going to be streamed.
Very true.
But we will definitely post it on the Cuppa Cupboard social media channels once it's announced, so that people can buy tickets and support it. Because
follow their social media.
Every single. Have you got the handle for that?
Yeah, In Pieces.
In Pieces. There you go. Is that on Twitter or Instagram? Instagram.
All of it.
Oh, okay.
Instagram,
so In Pieces, have a little look and
Future
check that
Spotlight.
out.
They've got it as well.
Amazing.
The producers.
Now, I remember you kind of, when you came in to record your songs, you were going like, oh, some of these In Pieces things are so low. And I'm sure it's just you.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Not actually because they're low for anybody.
They are very low for me.
Normal.
We had to do something, actually. I felt bad on Heba, bless her, because I had to message Ed saying, look, I'm struggling to sing this song. It's really low. It's really low, but not for a normal person, just for my larynx. It's low. And we had to message Joey. I had to send him some recordings. He's like, let's just put it up a key. So then Heba at the end now is singing right up on the top of at the top.
You're pushing
just
the whole
to make
cast
me
up.
be able to sing the low notes.
Well, I mean, I think I'm going to have to get a song straight on for this. And you're going to kind of hear exactly what we're talking about when we say that Luke has what you'd call a high voice. Do you want to just introduce this song, say why you picked it and where it's from?
Yeah, of course. So this is a song from Jesus Christ Superstar. It's my favourite musical, always has been. It's probably a dream role of mine. I've not had a rock kind of musical credit. I love the show.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, you'll see this song, guys, and you'll be like, why?
I need to get a few tattoos, I think. So, yeah, this is Heaven on Their Minds. My mind is clearer now. At last, all too well, I can see where we all soon will be. Jesus, you started to believe the things they say of you. You really do believe this talk of God is true. And all the good you've done will soon get swept away. You've begun to matter more than the things you say. Listen, Jesus, I don't like what I see. All I ask is that you listen to me. And remember, I've been your right-hand man all along. You have set them all on fire. They think they found a new Messiah. And they'll hurt you when they find they're wrong. Nazareth, your famous son, should have stayed a great unknown, like his father carving wood. He'd have made good. Tables, chairs, and oaken chests would have suited Jesus best. He'd have caused nobody harm, no one alarm. Listen, Jesus, do you care for your race? Can't you see we must keep in our place? We're occupied. Have you forgotten how we're down we are? I am frightened by the crowd, for we are getting much too loud. And they'll crush us if we go too far. If we go too far. Listen, Jesus, to the warning I give. Please remember that I want us to live. But it's sad to see our chances weakening with every hour. Your followers are blind. Too much heaven on their minds. It was beautiful, but now it's sour. Yes, it's all gone sour. Listen, Jesus, to the warning I give. Please remember that I want us to live. Listen, Jesus, to the warning I give. I just want us to live. It's all gone sour.
I mean, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I was in the room when he recorded those songs, and there's me going like, "Oh, it's been a while since I've sung properly because theatres have been closed, and my mixed voices." And he's like, "Oh yeah, mate, me too. My voice has been awful," and then just bangs that out in like one take. And I was just like, "Get out, absolutely get out, jog on."
Stop
There's
it.
so much love for you in the comments here. I
Bless
mean, like,
everyone.
wow,
Thank you. It's good to
wow,
sing.
what a voice. We got Sang here as
Sang.
well.
Oh,
You were just
Shelley.
amazing. I mean, I think Arlene's got the best comment here, which I really, really enjoyed. That voice would definitely raise Jesus from the dead.
I love that. I love that.
So lots of love for you. I mean, I think I've got to ask the question on everybody's lips.
Go on.
Did your voice actually break, or did it just stay the same?
Yeah, this is it. I don't think it did. It was a smooth transition.
Very smooth.
Very smooth. Tilted larynx.
Works wonders.
There you go, Joe Leather. Have a shot, mate.
Yeah.
Larynx.
You're just going to say it as many times as possible
Every
so he's
time.
hammered by the end of it. So your first West End show that you did was Gypsy, which is awesome because like it's a very traditional musical theatre piece. For those of you who don't know, it's got a lot of really big songs. Yeah, Luke admitted to me that when he was auditioning for it, he didn't actually know what the show was or what it was about, or because you're more of a rock musical guy, aren't you? You're Jesus Christ Superstar, We Will Rock You, kind of. Those are your fanboy shows. But
yeah, when I got it through, I was like, I had to phone my singing teacher at college, Nick Charters, and go, Nick, I've got this audition. I don't know what it is. You're like, what? I was like, I don't know
It's
what it is.
basically sacrilege. It's like when I tell people I've never seen The Sound of Music, I get like death
And then it said like dancer. I was like, oh, you're kidding me. What?
Yeah.
But
you got it in the end.
I did get it, but I did get told in the audition that I was a bad dancer. So.
And they then cast you as the bad dancer in the show. So those of you who haven't seen the show, like basically there's a lady who wanted to be a star in her own right, and she pushes her daughters to be performers because it's her dream. And the way that she does that is by basically kidnapping a load of children across America, making a vaudeville show, and then forcing them to perform. But she never lets them grow up. She doesn't let them go to school. She doesn't tell them when their birthdays are. So they're all in their 20s, and they all still think they're 10. Yeah. And Luke got to play the little sailor on the end, who, whenever they tap dance, was always one beat behind everybody else. And I did ask him, I was like, was that intentional, or was that just basically they saw you in the auditions and went, we'll make a joke out of this?
Well, this is it. In the audition, they were like, look, because it was in Chichester before the West End, they transferred it. So there was only a couple parts that were up for grabs that they were auditioning for. And in the audition, we had a dance, we did the tap route. And I love tap, but I was always in bottom set for tap at college. And so I was in the audition, did the tap. I got called back in. Stephen Mear, the loveliest guy in the business, wanted to talk to me. I was like, oh my days. So I went in there. He was like, look, we need to do some...
In that voice?
Yeah. We've got to do some exercises, do some tap exercises because, look, the director loves you, the MD loves you, but I've got an issue with your dance. I was like, yeah. He's like, where did you train? I went, PPA. He was like, okay, did you have dance training? I was like, yeah. He was like, let's do some tap steps. So I had to do some solo tap steps around the room. And then he was like, look, all the boys in the show are phenomenal dancers, but they have to act bad. You're just a bad dancer.
So just be yourself.
I went, yeah. He goes, do you think you can sort yourself out? And I went, yeah. So I had to go to dance classes before.
Oh, really?
An hour later, I got a phone call saying I've got the job. And I was like, oh my days.
So you basically went to boot camp?
I went to boot camp. I went to dance classes at Pineapple, and then I had extra rehearsals to.
Did they want a report card from your teacher?
Yeah,
like
literally.
You see his improvement, you have to bring it back in each week.
So then had some extra lessons, went in there, and just tried to bring a bit of cheeky me into it, really.
Well, I've got some pictures from Gypsy here, actually, just so we could put those
my green
up.
pyjamas, I missed them.
Yeah, you're the one on... Where are you?
I'm down at the bottom.
You are, yeah. That's you in the...
With a kumquat in my hand.
Yes. I thought that was you, because I remember when I saw it, you sitting on the floor on the pillow in that scene.
That's a funny story about that scene, actually, because they asked me, the boy who did it before in Chichester could juggle, and I can't.
Oh.
So, like, can you juggle these kumquat? And it wasn't kumquat, it was like little dumplings.
Oh, okay.
And so I was trying, and
because she orders a Chinese meal at that point, didn't she? Because the whole song's like, have an egg roll, Mr. whatever his name is. Yeah, that's it.
And I spent basically most of my rehearsal period trying to learn how to juggle. And with these, they weren't even round. They were like dumplings, but they were like foam. So they're really hard. And Imelda Staunton.
We'll get onto that in a minute.
She was trying to teach me how to do it, and I gave it. So they said, "Oh, just do a headstand."
I mean,
I did a headstand instead.
That's an amazing claim to fame, though, isn't it? Like Imelda Staunton taught me to juggle.
Yeah, but didn't go very well, Imelda, did it?
Well, we know she's not a very good professor just from the Harry Potter movies, so she's not a very good teacher.
That's very true.
So how did you find, obviously, not only doing your first West End show, but doing it with A-listers as well? We can see not only Imelda Staunton there, but you've also got Lara Pulver there as well. Yeah. So obviously most people will know Imelda from probably Professor Umbridge in Harry Potter, but she was also in that Welsh Miners film, Pride. She's also, she pops up in like, I remember watching some random movie about a teacher who worked in like an inner city underfunded school. And there's Imelda Staunton's like the supervising teacher there just pops up. I'm like, you're English and you're in an American movie playing an American lady.
She can do anything.
She is insane though. I mean, and then Lara, for people who don't know who she is, she was in Underworld. She's also been in Sherlock Holmes as well. She plays the escort lady, the sex worker lady, in Sherlock Holmes as well. Yeah. So, I mean, how was it working with those people, that caliber of people? Did you feel nervous, like going, I'm in a room with people who are going to take this job very seriously, and as a first West End job, how was that experience?
I think the whole experience for me is surreal, because it was already a cast that had already been established as well in Chichester, coming into a cast as a graduate as well was nerve-wracking, but cliche it is everyone was amazing and everyone was so lovely. My dressing room, the boys, the girls, we got on so well. Everyone got on so well. They were so welcoming. And then having Imelda that could just lead the group. So she just led everyone.
Because you were saying that, like, she basically did every single show in the entire run, didn't she?
I think she missed one or two.
For those of you who haven't seen
one or
it,
two
like,
performances. Watch it. It's on DVD.
Yeah, she's basically on stage the entire time, just singing her face off. And
every night was the same, and it was bang on. Everything was the same. Everything was and there were times when she comes in, her her throat's up, or she's got pins in her back because she's got bad back, and you wouldn't know. You would not know, and that's just the true professional she is, and that's what I took away from that job.
I mean, I was saying to Luke just before the stream that, like, I've only ever done a standing ovation twice before in the middle of a show, and the first one, the other one was Amber Riley singing "And I'm Telling You" in Dreamgirls, and the other one was Imelda Staunton, because you just couldn't not stand up. Like, it was just insane. Just every time she was on stage, you were literally following her, and she's tiny as well. So for her to fill a stage, and
we're
it's
not
just
even meant to be on, but we're in the wings watching.
Oh yeah, it's insane. She's just electric, isn't she?
Yeah. And she was funny though. She was lovely. And
well, you were saying you had a few kind of little
jokes,
as well as
she's a little flirt, really.
As well as the little sailor, you also had a starring moment in the show, didn't you?
Basically, in the show, I'm basically on stage for 20 minutes in total, I think, in the first act, and then the boys don't really get seen before again. But I was the front end of the cow in Act 2. And I'm at the front, Damien's at the back, bless him. And we have this mesh thing, and she used to come over and just muck about a bit and smack me around the head, or, come up to my mesh. Because she has to speak to the cow, but she used to do little things that no one in the audience would see. And there was one night when she came really close to the mesh, I went boo, and she jumped backwards. She couldn't control herself. She was laughing here, but she carried on. So and then I got a little kiss from her at the end, which I still haven't washed my face because of it.
I'm sure your wife really appreciates that. Is that probably the most famous person you've worked with then, Imelda?
Oh. Yeah. I mean, my mum loves Jim Davison, Doctor Who, and he was in Gypsy as well.
Oh, okay.
We will see someone a bit famous coming in a bit, I think.
Yeah, because Arlene here has just asked, was there anyone that you've ever been, like, starstruck by that you've met or worked with? So not even just worked with, but also just met when you've been out and about, like, working.
Good question.
I mean, you don't get much bigger than Hollywood A-listers.
No,
really.
I think Imelda definitely is.
Yeah.
But because she was so lovely and
it made
so
it really
little,
easy.
And she's human. The thing about when you meet these people, you think they're not human, but they are. They're just like us, and they've gone through what we've gone through. I think, I'd say Imelda, definitely Imelda. Yeah.
Well, I think it's about that time for another song now. So, do you want to introduce what you've picked as your next one?
I picked a song from the legend that is Michael Jackson. I heard a guy sing this song back a few years ago, and it was one of the best performances I've ever seen live, actually. So this is from a song by Michael Jackson, a little ditty called "She's Out of My Life." She's out of my life. She's out of my life. And I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I don't know whether to live or die. And it cuts like a knife. She's out of my life. It's out of my hands. It's out of my hands. To think for 2 years she was here, and I took her for granted. I was so cavalier. Now the way that it stands, she's out of my hands. So I've learned that love's not possession, and I've learned that love won't wait. Now I've learned that love needs expression, but I've learned too late, and she's out of my life. She's out of my life. Damned indecision and cursed pride, I kept my love for her locked deep inside, and it cuts like a knife. She's out of my life.
Yeah.
All the best.
Well, I mean, loads of very glowing, reviews here going. Sounds amazing, mate. We've got one person who's you've got an offer. There we go, Reese. She might be out of your life, but I'll step in. So you're pulled, mate. So well done.
Oh, thank you, Reese. Keep it clean.
We've got an interesting question here from Dawn, who says, what's the hardest, most technical song you've ever had to sing live?
I think we'll be coming on to that, I think.
Yeah,
I think
so we'll say that. There you go, Dawn. So the answer to your question is actually going to be in the next section, for which I'm actually going to be bringing in a mutual friend of ours.
Oh, he's not here, is he?
Now, I actually met Luke doing a cruise ship with the Britones. I believe some of the Britone boys are watching.
Doing all right tonight.
Today, yeah. And this friend who we've got bringing in, I've done cruise ships with separately. You've done cruise ships with separately. Yeah. But you also did an amazing job out in China and Dubai.
Yeah.
So I won't give it much away. Let me introduce him. So this is Jonny.
Oh.
Jonny, you there?
I'm there.
Of course he's here.
There you go. Good to see you, mate. How you doing?
Well, I was gonna say loads of nice things about Luke, but he said, "Have you ever been starstruck by working with anyone?" And he didn't say my name. So
did you not hear? I did say I'll be seeing him later.
All right, I'll say some nice things then.
So you guys obviously met on the cruise ship doing Britones, just like me and Luke did, but your first meeting was a little bit more intimate than mine and Luke's first meeting, or mine and Johnny's first meeting. Jonny, would you like to tell us the story of how you two met?
I'd love to. Do you know, I forget this story. I forget about this story all the time. And every time I remember, I giggle all over again. So basically, the first time I met Luke, we were sharing a cabin, and the beds hadn't been separated. So the two single beds we made into a double. It was quite late, so we didn't have time to sort of separate them. It was fine. So we went to bed, and basically I woke up with, my arm was around you, right?
Well, I walked off the boat in the morning, and you having a cup of coffee, and I sat down with you. 10 minutes later, you go, "Do you want to talk about last night?" I was like, what? Do you want to talk about last night? I was like, I have no idea what you're on about, Jonny.
So yeah, that's right. So then I'd woken up, and my arm was around you. So I woke up, and I was like, oh, I'm not at home. I'm with that new guy, Luke.
You guys hadn't talked before this, had you?
Well, it's the first time we've met.
This was our first day. So I'd spoke to him for maybe 20 minutes, said hello, little
There'd been an icebreaker before the spooning. It wasn't straight to spooning. That's fine.
It wasn't straight to spooning, but not far off. So I sort of realized my arm was around him. And then I sort of I had my head the other way. So I turned around, and his eyes were just wide open, and he was just staring straight at me. So I was like, I have no idea if he's concerned, if he's happy I've done this. I can't work out. So I just slowly
Do I
took
kiss him?
my
Do I
arm off.
turn away?
do I take the moment? And so I just like slowly took my arm off, and I was like, he's definitely asleep with his eyes open. Which then cut to Costa next to me. Going, do you want to talk about last night?
No
To which he
recollection
told
of
me
it
he had been
whatsoever.
sleeping right through it. But we've been great friends ever since, so it's
Ever
all
since,
right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd say that's where the bromance blossomed from, wasn't it? Because I got a little slide here with some of your best moments from.
They are.
Now, you guys actually then got the opportunity to work on a show together, which is the one I mentioned went to China and Dubai. So, what show was that you guys did together?
So we did Jersey Boys together, and we were in the fairly unique position of playing the same role. So we both played Frankie. We both did 4 shows a week. So as you can see that picture on the right there was Luke feeding me my much needed vitamin C to keep me strong. And the one on the left is us halfway up a mountain, and I think Guangzhou. If I remember
and I'm wearing the same T-shirt.
In both pictures.
Yeah.
Did you not pack many clothes?
I never do.
Did you have it in your contract that Luke has to come in and feed you oranges in the interval?
As
Is
long
that
as
what it was, Johnny?
As long as Johnny's getting 1p more.
Well, can
That
I
was
say,
it. Yeah, I used to always joke about this. I had a £1 deal. So whatever
£1.
Luke gets paid, I need the same plus a pound. That was always a joke I used to make.
Well, your response when I asked you if you'd come on was, "Do I get a bigger dressing room than Luke?" Bearing in mind you were joining us virtually.
Yeah.
So
Listen, I demand what I demand, you know? Thanks for the trailer. I really appreciate it.
Now, when you guys did Jersey Boys, it was international. So I mentioned Dubai, but you obviously China's a big place. So where did you guys go in China when you did the show?
So we did Dubai first for a week, and then we came back to the UK, and then we were in we started in Shanghai, then we went to Guangzhou. We were supposed to go to Nanjing, but I think the theatre was still under construction, so we did a longer run in our final venue, which was Beijing.
And how did
it was the 3 venues.
Just being in a different culture? Because obviously you've done a lot of shows here before in the UK. Was this your first major role doing shows in theatres abroad? Because obviously cruise ships, you get British people on the majority, but here you were performing to Chinese audiences. So how was that different? Was the audience response different? Their way they reacted to the shows?
It was a really, really interesting experience. So yes, it was my first time working on that sort of scale abroad. And I think that in my head, I expected the reaction to be quite different. And it wasn't actually as different as I thought it was going to be. I think that when it's a show like Jersey Boys, which is obviously a really strong storyline, really strong plot, great songs that inform the text, it sort of speaks for itself. And I think that came across. And you'd a lot of the time we go to a stage door and you'd speak to people about their experience of seeing it, and they just understood the story that you were trying to tell. So ultimately, I don't think the experience was overly different for me. I think you just treat it the same way you would performing it anywhere else. You let the sort of the text speak for itself, I think.
But there were cultural differences in terms of what you were allowed to do on stage, though, as well. Wasn't the piece had to be adapted slightly? And what were those changes? Because I think, Luke, you were saying about expletives and kissing was an issue
Dubai
in some
was
places.
kissing, wasn't it? We weren't allowed to kiss.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we took out the kissing in Dubai, and then in China it was a swearing thing. The swearing was removed. So yeah, you just have to kind of find a way of keeping that text alive and making it work without those bits in there. Yeah,
because watching Jersey Boys, there's a lot in it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, some people might go, "Oh, cutting swearing out isn't that big a deal," but Jersey Boys, the whole story is the fact that you've got these very gritty characters who are kind of from this slight kind of mob kind of underbelly, and so it's almost kind of necessary. Like, it's like if you watch The Sopranos or you watched any of those kinds of mafia films, without that kind of language, it kind of is hard to get that gritty street feel to it, surely.
Sure. I think they did a great job of the adaptation, because I think you're right that if you started to exchange the swear words, especially some of those heavier, sort of more potent swear words for less potent swear words, that might be detrimental. So I think they went the right way by just sort of removing those sections and changing that bit of text so that it wasn't there, rather than saying "you bozo," where it would, you're right, you would lose that sort of tension. So I think that the adaptation sort of worked, and because we knew from the get-go that we weren't going to be swearing, we weren't sort of second guessing that thing of, oh, remember not to swear there. We were working without swearing from the beginning, so it was an integrated process in that sense, which I think really helps.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you both played Frankie, which for people who might not have seen the show, but most people know Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons music. Oh, what a night! Big Girls Don't Cry, Walk Like a Man. The songs are high, and I know that this guy loves that. I'm gonna go. Here you go. I can see my hand. This guy loves that. But obviously, like for normal mortals like me and you, Jonny, it's a big sing. And so and not only a big sing in terms of how high it is, he's got a very peculiar sound and a very distinctive and iconic sound. So what was the process to kind of try to replicate that? Like, did you have to do special classes with anybody, or was it just drowning yourself in the songs until it kind of clicked? Or
I would not recommend the way that I went about doing it, but here's how I went about doing it. So I had a bit of a head start in that in 2013, I joined a touring Four Seasons show, not Jersey Boys, but just a concert of the songs. Mm-hmm. So I kind of threw myself in at the deep end that way, but I really didn't know what I was doing. So I just have this sort of facility for falsetto, but not really the workflow to maintain that for any length of time. So I sort of was going into these shows and just being like, well, great show, I'll see you all next week. And,
can you please tell everyone the story? When your voice was tired on the tribute of singing Sherry.
Yeah, so without getting too technical, you know how sometimes falsetto notes are easier on certain vowels than on others? So I wasn't able to keep an aspirated sound for the falsetto because it was just gone. So the share of sherry became impossible. So on this particular night where my voice was just not in very good condition, I ended up going sha ho 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 ho. Like I sort of got through it by doing like a sha ha ho, which was not great. So then when it came to actually doing the show, it was about sort of you'd really just taken the ego out of it and going back to basics. I mean, like, I actually don't know how to do this for an elongated period of time. So, and my wife just kind of took me to one side because I was like, I don't know if I can sing this. And she's like, well, you're going to turn it down? I was like, obviously not. She was like, well, you're going to have to learn to sing it then. Yeah. So I went back to see, I went and started with a new singing teacher, Mark Malin, who I know that Luke has seen as well, who really helped me out with just the process of, where those points of tension are and just the loads of extraneous sort of elements that don't help with just the passageway of delivering that music. It was just stuff that was getting in the way. So yeah, it was definitely a process. What I find really interesting though, and Luke and I spoke about this a lot, is that the songs that Luke finds hard are the songs I find easy and vice versa. So when that question came up in the chat about the song that's technically the most difficult you've sang, for me, it's Moody's Mood, which is a really, really tricky little number in the middle.
I love that
really,
one.
really hard. Yeah. So when we sang, so Luke and I had the opportunity of singing the material for Bob Gaudio, which I don't know about you, Luke, but for me, it's sort of one of the great. Yeah, I know. One of the great sort of moments in my life, really. And he asked to hear Moody's Mood, and I was super nervous about singing it. And for some ridiculous reason, I let Luke go first. So Luke sang Moody's Mood for Bob Gaudio, a song that he knows inside out and has heard Frankie Valli sing hundreds, if not thousands of times. And I will give you word for word Bob Gaudio's reaction to Luke's version. Well, good luck to the other guy.
But you did smash it, and it was amazing.
It was the Luke scale. It was a solid 7 out of 10.
But it was true though, wasn't it? Like we always said, wasn't it? Our first line in the show was always how we knew our show would go, because it was like our first line. You
joined the show in the stratosphere, don't you? You literally your first note.
I don't know how it's going to peak if I sing it, but silhouette, and it's like we knew
if that doesn't come out,
this is a bad show.
Yeah.
How do you
100%.
deal with that as well? Because there have been times where I've gone, thankfully, I've never had to sing that high. But, everybody is a performer. You're doing 8 shows a week. There are shows where you're going, my voice is not at 100%. I'm going to have to work my way. What are the nerves like going into a show like that? I mean, it's the same with Cameron last time, who was doing Rock of Ages. Going into a show where it's that vocally demanding and going like, my voice isn't 100%. Like, how did you deal with that pressure? Like, what technically did you do? Did you just go, do you know what, I'm just going to take it easy and sit on it? Did you
can't
mentally have to or you just go like this and just kind of hope for the best?
I think for me anyway, it's about trusting technique to a point, because that's where I got into. I think where I found it difficult when I was singing it before Jersey Boys and I was doing it concert wise, is you kind of just, you get really nervous and then you start to just allow yourself to pick up the old habits. You're just like, well, I'm just going to like open my mouth up wide and squeeze it out, and then you're just compounding a problem. And you probably will get through the show okay, but there's no way you're going on tomorrow
You've got
night
another
in the
one
same
tomorrow,
way. So
Yeah.
exactly that. So because Luke and I did a few, you would, if you were on the Friday night rotation, if we had a Sunday show, then you could end up doing sort of a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. So you really had to have that workflow. So for me, it was about trusting that technique. And as you feel tired, it's like, just make sure you're not like locking up and just staying on top of that element of it.
Yeah, not
pollution on it as well in China. Pollution with the masks.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, was there anything you had to do specially to kind of look after your voices out in China? Just because I know other people who lived in China and they have had vocal problems due to the pollution levels. So were you warned about that by the company before you went out? And like, how did you have to deal with that?
Yeah, it's quite tricky. So Beijing at that time of year when we were there it was sort of like -6. It's really, really dry as well as there being pollution. So you're kind of competing with a lot of things that you don't really want to be competing with when you're singing. So yeah, you've got to really respect the text and respect the work. So that's one of the things. I mean, there's so many things I enjoyed about working with Luke, but one in particular was that Luke took it as seriously as I did. So I always had like a companion to be like, people were going out and enjoying themselves, and not even in a particularly big way. Just we'll go and have a drink after the show, and you just can't really, because you really
we'll go to the supermarket, get the little ginger juice.
You got your ginger teas in your hotel room, is that it? Yeah.
You just respect it and sort of take your time.
This is the burden of being the lead though, and having to carry a show. Unfortunately, you don't have as much fun as the rest of the cast, because you're like, well, I'm the one who's going to be front and center having to hit high G's or whatever tomorrow, and the rest of you guys, particularly the bass guy, is going to be down in his boots, and probably a couple of beers the night before is going to actually help him with the show. So
yeah.
We all make mistakes and cracks, and we're not robots, and voices crack and things go wrong, and all that's fine. But you have to be able to, for me anyway, look yourself in the eye in the mirror and say, did I do everything I could to kind of make sure that I could deliver that as well as I could? Or was that a bit ropey because I didn't really take care of myself as well as I could have? That played a factor for me, certainly.
I think also we're both quite similar in personalities in a way that we don't want to go out there and be rubbish. So we'd always want to be the best that we can be, and we're a bit perfectionists in that sort of sense.
Also with Frankie, there's nowhere to hide.
No.
Like you can't hide. It's not like you can just hide behind someone else. You're front and center singing the lead lines to pretty much all the songs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
and the whole plot is based around the fact that he's got this voice, this great voice. So
So you got to deliver on that, I mean, were there any times where things went wrong during the show? Like, was there any kind of like funny cringe moments where it was like, oh my goodness, Earth, swallow me now?
Well, there's two, but the first one I would like to point out is I only had like a proper like Scooby crack once, and the best thing about it, considering the show that it is, was it was on a spoken line.
You cut out there. Sorry, can you just say that one more time?
Yeah, so I only had a proper Scooby crack once, and it was on a spoken line, which I just think is brilliant considering the show. And it was, hey, Frank, what do you dig most? Man, I don't know. I just go.
I completely forgot about that. Oh,
Do you know what
that
though?
was a good
It's
one.
really funny. There are times though where you're concentrating so hard on the singing that you end up going, oh great, okay, I
can
just get
relax.
to talk. And then as soon
Yeah.
as you're talking, you can't. Because I remember one of my worst cracks doing Barry Mann was on a line, and it was where I was trying to seduce the girl, and I'm like, oh, can we go out to my place? And I was just like,
Yeah.
literally just like, oh dear.
You're just letting the breath
Meant to
control
be
go for
smooth.
once, and all of a sudden you suffer for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, oh dear. Anyway, but
Then you have the other actor looking at your face going,
yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. Everyone's corpsing and you've caused it. How are the fans out in China? Because I
Crazy.
mean, I know that like they have a reputation with pop stars for being quite like, shall we say, hardcore when it comes to like people they like. Is the theatre scene like that over there? Because we do have some shows which are quite cult over here, like Wicked has a massive following, which is people are obsessed with. Like Six has a massive following. People say so. Do they subscribe to that same kind of level? Like, did you get kind of like any crazy fans?
yeah.
We did pick up a following along the way. You know, we had quite a few people who were traveling between cities to see it, and particularly from like Shanghai to Beijing. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that's a few hours on the plane. So there were people that were coming in every week to kind of watch it, having seen it in Shanghai, and people that came to Guangzhou as well. So yeah, there was people who really sort of invested in the show and really sort of came to a lot of shows. And yeah, the gifts at stage door. I mean, I was given gold-plated chopsticks at one point with my name on them, and
Have you still
I mean,
got 'em,
one
like,
member of the cast
Staunton?
got an iPhone X.
Yeah, so you got that.
We got Kindle,
Andy.
Andy Bryant, didn't
Oh,
he?
nice.
Because
Yeah.
a fan gave him a box of an iPhone. Because we all got like, we did get some good gifts like Kindles and stuff. So it wouldn't be out of the ordinary, but Andy got a box of an iPhone. Then he opened it and there was Ferrero Rochers in there.
Ah,
So then one fan felt really bad. So on the last day,
got him an
got him
iPhone.
an
Because,
iPhone.
oh wow.
But those
mean-
people
Well, this
used
was
to come out 30 times and watch the show 30 times in all different cities. Like,
Well, if I remember correctly about the iPhone, because he'd been given this joke one, this other person came with the phone and he went, yeah, funny joke, but actually I've already had a sort of joke iPhone. And he was like, maybe have a look inside that one. And he's like, it's an actual iPhone.
That's
Crazy.
just crazy. I think the best I've done is like a box of cupcakes. I thought I was well chuffed with that. Now I'm hearing
Yeah,
kids
boy.
we got,
gold-plated chopsticks.
come
I'm
home
like,
with-
oh mate, I need to get some new
he
fans.
would come home with a
We need to get
suitcase, a
some.
little suitcase full of letters, notes, pictures, things made. I had a song written. Where me and Johnny had our own little fans as well. So some people would prefer Johnny and only come watch Johnny. Some would only come and watch me.
Right, so do you have rival gangs like
Yeah,
turning
rival
up going,
gangs.
we want Johnny,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want Lee. Yeah, the West Side Story gang. I don't think I could imagine anything less violent than musical theatre people in gangs.
no.
Like, it would just be the most stagey camp thing I think you've ever seen in your life.
They were all lovely, to be fair, weren't they?
Yeah.
Everyone was so lovely.
Oh yeah, it was a really lovely time.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Johnny, for coming and joining us. It's been so nice chatting to you, mate, and like just finding out more about you. Because obviously I speak to you all every now and then when we do the cruises and the rest of it. But
Yeah.
when I've kind of got an insight as to the nonsense you two got up to while you were away. So hopefully everyone else find that very interesting as well. Just before we start to round off, have you got any pluggables that you would like to just mention to anybody watching? I think I've got one here for you for your YouTube channel. We should put up
Yes,
here.
my channel is somewhat dormant at the moment, but if you are into musical theatre, you'll find some nice stuff on there with some performers that if you like Western theatre, you'll know. Scott Page, Carrie Hope Fletcher. There's some stuff on there, so yeah, feel free to check that out. As it says down there, I Read Books and Nightclubs is my YouTube channel.
You can see some videos from China as well.
Are they?
Oh, good point. Yeah, I actually documented quite a bit of China. So there's like a day in the life in China, and I think maybe like a week of us on tour and some Q&A with the cast, the Jersey Boys and things like that on there. If you dig back a few years, yeah.
I mean, it is worth watching because I've checked out some of your videos as well, and I just love the outfits, let alone anything else, because you got this lovely little side parting and your dicky bow going, and it's just like, I mean, you can tell by the username that Johnny doesn't take himself too seriously when he does.
He doesn't have this hair in the videos.
No, he doesn't.
No,
It's very
no,
British.
that's how long it's been. Yeah.
Are you going for Jesus Christ Superstar when everything opens up again, or is it now that you're
This performance of Heaven on the Mind, I think the role's taken.
Oh, I know. I actually had to look at YouTube afterwards because I was like, there's no way those notes are actually in the score. Because there'd be like one person who'd be able to sing it, i.e. Luke.
Ricardo
and then, well, no, because even the one I saw with Ricardo, I mean, I've worked with Ricardo and his voice is insane, but even he's like, doesn't go as high as you did on that. So there you go. I mean, Rack's watching.
Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice will smack me around the wrist, probably.
All the extra riffs and runs there chucked in. Great. Well, I mean, I'm going to put this up during the last song, the little donate here. I was meant to put it up during the last two. I completely forgot. So there you go. I'll put this up during the next one. Again, if you'd like to donate towards the stream, it gets split between everybody who's been involved and all the hard work that's been put into it as well. Obviously, remember that theatres are closed at the moment. So you'll find that most performers are currently delivering Hermes packages or kind of working in supermarkets and other things like that. So any kind of help you can give, it's going straight to the performers. It's not going to anyone else. And it would just be kind of nice to kind of reward these people for doing what they normally do for a living and showing your appreciation for the content that you guys have been enjoying tonight.
And can I just say as well, Matt, I think it's so great that you've got this this channel on the go, and I think this is such a great thing to be able to showcase, you know, amazing talent like Cameron Sharp, great, I mean, fantastic voice and a great performer. Luke tonight, you know, great performers. So yeah, just for me as a theatre fan, just thanks for sort of doing this. I think it's a really, really great thing.
Oh, thank
Subscribe,
you,
hit like.
Oh, yes, I was going to say, if you have liked this stream, please do like it and like the other videos as well. It just helps the algorithm find other people that might like our content as well, and means that YouTube then might start pushing it to some other people. So we are all wrapping up now. Normally, we finish with a duet, but obviously because Luke was recording his In Pieces stream, he was like, mate, I'm snowed under with accounting courses and learning songs. And the last time we did a cruise with Luke, where we had to pick songs,
I knew it would get mentioned.
He basically was like, we were like, okay, we had to create a show last minute. And it was like, right, Luke, what songs do you know? Oh, Uptown Girl. Okay, great. Let's put it on. Put the backing track. Uptown Girl. Yeah, no, I don't know Uptown Girl.
But I do sing it all the time now.
Pretty much every single song that we pulled up, he was like, oh, yeah, Johnny Be Good. Yeah, I know Johnny. Way down Louisiana, down in New Orleans. No, I don't know Johnny Be Good. So I didn't trust him when he said, I can probably do this song. So instead, you're stuck with me doing a solo to wrap up tonight instead. So, but big, massive thank you to Luke Street for coming in and singing songs. Thank you. And thank you, Johnny, as well, for being such a great sport and joining us on Skype. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. And in between now and the next one in 2 weeks' time, we'll be announcing our next guest. It's a good one. You're going to want to be there. She's done TV stuff and other things like that. So you're definitely going to want to see this. It's going to be a lot of fun. But to play us out, here's a Hamilton number called Wait For It. We'll see you next time.
Theodosia writes me a letter every day. I'm keeping the bed warm while her husband is away. He's on the British side in Georgia, trying to keep the colonies in line. Well, he can keep all of Georgia. Theodosia, she's mine. Love doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep loving anyway. We laugh and we cry and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason I'm by her side, and so many have tried, then I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. Grandfather was a fire and brimstone preacher, but there are things that the homilies and hymns won't teach her. My mother was a genius. My father commanded respect. When they died, they left no instructions, just a legacy to protect. Death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep living anyway. We rise and we fall and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason I'm still alive when everyone who loved me has died, I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. I am the one thing in life I can't control. I am an inimitable, I am an original. I'm not falling behind or running late. I'm not standing still, I am lying in wait. Hamilton faces an endless uphill climb. He has something to prove, he has nothing to lose. Hamilton's pace is relentless, he wastes no time. Oh, what is it like in his shoes? Hamilton doesn't hesitate. He exhibits no restraint. He takes and he takes and he takes and he keeps winning anyway. Changes the game, plays and he raises the stakes. And if there's a reason he seems to thrive when so few survive, then goddamn it, I'm willing to wait for it.